What's up? In this video, I'm gonna talk about my hospital visit, which I talk about it mostly because people were having fun at my expense. It's kind of sucked, you know, but I'm fine. Just like letting everybody know I'm good. Most people on here watch this video probably won't really know me, but I'm fine. Just in case you were okay. So basically, the whole thing started because I went to the mall with my best friend, and we were just there. We were chilling, and from the beginning of the day, like I kind of had a headache, and I kind of had I felt really hot, and all of a sudden, I didn't think anything of it. I took some Tylenol, left, and then like like my legs and my shoulders and like my spine started to like hurt, like they hurt, like it was like bad. And so then I hung with my friend for like a good 4 hours at the mall. We shopped and stuff like that. And she's like, yo, just call your dad, come tell him to come get you because you're in a lot of pain. You're not acting yourself. I was pale. It was just bad. Excuse me, I burped. So I call my dad and I'm like, Dad, can you come pick me up? And he's like, where are you? And I was like, I'm at the mall. He's like, well, can't you come closer? I was like, but it hurts to walk. And he's just like, well, if you can walk this far. And I'm just like, you're an asshole. And I hung up the phone and I ended up meeting up with him anyways. So as soon as I got into the car, I broke out into tears. That was it. I just let go. I was crying, and I was like, you know how like when you're in the car with your parents, or when you're in the car with anybody, you don't really want them to see you cry. So if they're driving, you face your face like kind of to the passenger side window, and you kind of lean your head down, and you just do the whole, you don't do the whole like, like you just do the whole, you just do the whole like sniffling and whatnot. Luckily, you're like, oh, shit. Oh, my bad. And so I was just emotional. I do that when I get sick. I get really like I cry over nothing, like legit. So my dad's sitting there and he's driving the car, and I just want him to take me home, but I'm just sitting there. I'm minding my own business. I'm just crying because it hurts. No, but just because I'm me and my dad's my dad. He's a very sarcastic person. So I'm sitting there and I'm crying and I'm obviously in pain. And what does he do? Nothing. He leans over to me and taps my shoulder. So I look and he sees that there's tears in my eyes. And he looks at me and he goes, hey, hey. And I look at him like, what? And he goes, man up. And I'm just like, and I was like, you're an asshole. And I was so mad. I was bawling my eyes out. And I was like, why is she doing that? I hate you. I wish I'd call my mom to come get me instead of you. It was a sight to see. So I thought he was just going to take me straight home. I was going to go sleep because I was tired. But no. He takes me to the clinic. Like, not the clinic, where you get birth control, but like the doctor's office. And he says, come on, we're going to the doctor. I was like, no, it was the biggest fight it was a fight you've never seen. And he had to get me out of that car and get me into that thing. And he was threatening to call my mom. And I was just like, fuck, you think I'm gonna fuck if you call my mom? He's like, I just want to call her so she can tell you the same thing I'm telling you. You need to go to the doctor. So after about a good 10 minutes of me screaming and doing the whole like thing with him, I got out of the car. I started walking to the doctor, tripped and stumbled a few times. And then when we were sitting in the doctor's office, she pulls me in immediately. And she's like, okay, well, sit there, this and that. They looked me over. My fever was high. They said that it looked like meningitis, which, for those of you guys that don't know, it's like a virus that works really fast throughout your body. So after she said that, she said, I'm going to tell you to go to emergency. I'm going to call them in and let them know that you're coming. So when I heard meningitis, I had no idea what that was. So I looked to my dad for support. I was like, Kev? And he's just like, what? And I was like, what's meningitis? And he goes, well, you could die. And I was just like, and I was like, really? Why would you say that? Well, yeah. That's what they said to me. And I was just like, who says that? Anyway. So, we're driving, and he obviously, because I have a foster dad, he's not my actual dad, and I have a mom, my biological mother, And he called my mom, and she comes to the hospital, and we sit inside the waiting room, which is usually like 6 hours time before you get into a room. No, the lady looked me over and she put me in a private room, like a quarantine room or whatever. So she put me on the bed, and I'm laying there. And you guys, I guarantee you, you will never see a needle phobia like mine. Mm-mm. You will never see a person freak out the way I do. I hate needles. I hate them with a passion. They, mm, mm, mm. I faint, and I hyperventilate, and I panic, and I cry, and it's not good. So, I didn't think that was going to be in there for that long. I was like, whatever. The chapter Miranda, go home. So we got into the room, changed into the robe, and trust me, you know how you see those movies where like the people's butt hang out? Trust me, it's true. It happens. My foster dad's sitting beside the bed. I'm tired. I'm tired as it is. I don't want to stay up. It's 8 o'clock at night on a Monday night after fucking spring break. I don't want to stay there. Then my mom comes in, and we're sitting there, and it's about 15 minutes till a doctor comes in, and I no word to a lie, this doctor comes in, and she has on one of those gowns, those plastic things that cover your shoes, a face mask, a mouth mask, and like a thing that guys wear when they go in when their wives are like having babies, like those things that cover your hair. So I'm not listening. I looked at her and I was like, okay, whatever. Tired. I look over at my mom and my foster dad, and they look at each other. And you see my mom, she looks at my foster dad going, should we put on that? And the nurse looks at them and goes, well, you guys have already been exposed, so there's really no point now. And mom goes, oh, okay. So she's sitting there. And at this point, I didn't realize, like, she looked me over, took my temperature, my heartbeat was going real fast. I was doing this whole, like that kind of breathing. It would suck. And, they said, we're going to get the IV team to come down here. I was like, the fuck? An IV team? Mom's like, it's the IV things they put in your hands. I'm like, they use needles. And I flipped, and I was saying to Mom, I was like, Mom, I'll give you my paycheck if you just don't let them put needles in me, okay? And so the lady comes in. And this time she's just wearing one of those robes and a face thing. So I'm asking her if I have to get the needles. She said, okay, well, we have this spray that, like, freezes the skin so you don't feel anything. I was like, oh, fuck, okay. Then she goes away. She comes back. She's like, okay, well, we can't give you the spray, but we can give you this. And it's like a cream, and it's called numbing cream. Apparently, it, like, numbs the skin. It takes 20 minutes to kick in or something. That shit didn't help at all. Sorry, my dog is, like, doing, like, ooh, things. It didn't help at all. I was bawling my eyes out. And they're like, oh, you have to pee in a cup. I'm just like, I don't have to pee. I don't have to pee. What do I do? She's like, okay, so you're a little dehydrated, so we're gonna give you like this bag. It's like a 1 liter thing of water, and they put it in my IV, so I would have to pee. Yeah. And then after all that, I had to pee. This is not. And then the doctors come in, and I swear to God, within an hour, like 4 doctors had come in and asked me the same question, had to explain the whole story like I'm explaining it to you guys, and it sucked. But then they started giving me the antibiotics, and I asked the stupidest question I ever asked. It's like this weird antibiotic with like Axonenorol or whatever. It's a weird ass name. And I looked at the nurse, and I'm watching her. She's putting in my IV. I'm like, you know, does anybody ever have any side effects to this? Don't know. Don't ask me why I asked that. And she looks at me and she goes, very rarely do people have side effects to it, but if it is, it's just a little bit of itching. I'm like, okay, I know a little bit of itching. So this other doctor comes in right after she leaves, and he starts asking me questions. I no word to a lie. A half an hour after that stuff is coming into my IV, and I'm sitting there and I start going like this. I'm like, I'm itching the back of my neck. But every single time I itch, it burns. And I'm not saying like it burns like, excuse me. Oh, my bad. It burnt like somebody was putting my head to like an element on a stove or a gas stove. That is how much it burned. And I was itching and itching and itching and itching, and no matter how much I itched, this didn't go away. And my head started to get swollen. And there's a doctor. And he's sitting there and he's asking me questions while this allergic reaction is happening. And there's blisters all over my skin. My mom gets up and she's like, don't itch it, just rub it. And I'm just like I'm whacking the shit out of my head. It won't help. And I was like, I felt like there was a blowtorch on my head. And my head was all swollen. It sucked. So I finally pressed the button. And this guy over here, the stupid doctor, is asking me the stupidest questions you could ever ask a person. He was like, what school do you go to? Well, where do you work? How many hours a day do you work? How many hours a day would you say you go to school? How many hours of sleep would you say you get a night? Like mindless questions. And this went on for not shitting you like an hour of him asking me questions. And finally, the nurse comes in and she takes the shit out of my IV and she's like, okay, well, we're going to have to give you some like, anti-reaction stuff, like some, what's it called? Some, Benadryl. Yes, that's what she gave me, which made me drowsy. So it's about 11 o'clock at this point. My foster dad has already left. My mom's boyfriend came. I call him asshole. My mom's boyfriend, asshole, came. And, and it was about 11 o'clock. I fell asleep. I woke up at about 6 the next morning. I was still in the same room. And we did not moved up to the private room upstairs till about 8 o'clock on Tuesday morning. Keep in mind, we've been there since 8 o'clock Monday night. And, so then, my IV came out during the night. They had to put in another one. I had a total of 7 IVs the whole time I was in the hospital for the whole 5 days. Kind of sucked. I watched every single Disney movie you could ever understand. Every single one. Every single Disney movie. It was amazing. And they had popsicles. I had like 1.5 million of those. But yeah, that is my hospital experience. Nothing really interesting happened after that. I just thought I should share that with you guys. So this will be my second video going up on YouTube. Hope you guys like it. Request what I should talk about. Kind of running out of ideas. Deuces.